promise on my honor to be a better leader every day, faithful and loyal to my country, organization, and fellow team members, countrymen and women. I pledge myself to remain true to the core values of integrity and self-discipline through my daily choices and actions. My mind is alert, focused at all times. I shall show respect to everyone always and every time. I remain a better leader and team player always. So I pledge.
Welcome back, viewers. And so I pledge also unto our Leadership 360 pledge. If all of us can do that, I believe that our daily actions and inactions will go a long way to support our sustainable development as a people, as a continent, and if you like, as our various citizens of our various countries. Today is the 7th episode of this very educated show on TV, the most educative show on TV. And once again, it's my pleasure to welcome you. As indicated in my introduction, we have a special guest for today's show. He's a professional from a very interesting background. Transcends the continent of Africa. He's an international person, he's a global analyst, and all the accolades you can think of when it comes to leadership and teamwork. He is in the person of Mr. Kwaku Obeng-Appau.
That's right. Thank you.
Mark.
Yeah.
You are welcome to the Leadership 360 show.
Thank you.
To our cherished viewers, we are live, as indicated earlier, on DSTV channel 277 and on Facebook as well. To my special fans out there, and especially those who are on the Leadership 360 platform, today promises to be very interesting. So, Mark, a famous legendary general, Sun Tzu, said, leaders need to lead by example, not by force. Leaders need to lead by example, not by force. And on this 360 show, Leadership 360 show, we also believe that leadership is the utmost denominator of the efficiency of everything, or the success story of everything. And so this afternoon, we want you to help us have a better understanding of what is it, this most pronounced mantra, that leadership by example, leadership by example. What do we mean when we say leadership by example? And why is it even more significant in our current world than ever?
Thank you, Doug, for the opportunity, and thanks to all your viewers. It's important, such a profound saying by Sun Tzu, and it's just doubtless. But before I address the issue of leadership by example, what exactly it is, permit me to take a step back, because I've been following your 360 degrees conversation over the last 7 series or so. Number one, let us establish just quick, anecdotal matters in leadership. And it's all surfaced on this platform. One, you have said along the line that leadership is a service. You have also said today that leadership is by example. But underneath those concepts is that you have what we say oftentimes in leadership, walk the walk or talk the talk. It becomes far more important when you cross the walk and talk the talk diagonally, so that you get walk the talk. Because you see, the central issue in leadership is that it becomes very common when people can talk. In Ghana, we say talk is cheap. But in leadership is a very serious issue that actually affects everybody from the family to politics, to sports, to society. So it's not a trivial matter. So when we say leadership by example, we want leaders to walk the talk. Number one, we don't want leaders to collapse into the 1960s, 70s narrative in Ghana where we said, Kwesia Mankwa Christosum, to wait to say that when I am the pastor, I can only talk, do what I say, but don't look at what I do. That kind of leadership mindset is long dead and gone. So you do what you say so you can actually inspire people to also follow you.
Okay.
Number one, that done, why is it so significant today?
Before you go into that, so what in effect or in essence you are saying is that leadership by example is more of modeling a behavior that can be replicated by team members.
Yes.
Positive behavior that can be replicated by members. So it's like modeling your behavior that you look forward to being emulated by your followers.
Absolutely, Dog. Just to reiterate that, why do we need to model behaviors? Leadership is a service. Leadership at the baseline has two main components, a cause and effect component. You want your people or your followers, your teammates, to mimic you or to model your behavior so that you can influence the behavior or behaviors of others to follow you for a service, for an objective, for a goal, for a project. So if people will be detached because you will not walk the talk, how are you going to model that behavior? It won't work.
Exactly.
Yes.
Last week we spoke about team dynamics, and I believe that this fits in so well where the behavior of team members eventually impact on the team.
That's right.
Likewise, the behavior of the leaders. So thanks so much. You may now proceed to why is this so significant? Of course, you have mentioned it in your bits of that. But in the current scheme of things, if you look at the global space, how things are unfolding, the rapidity of change around us, and all that, you juxtapose it on leadership across board, from the community, from the traditional environment to political, national, and all that. Why is this so important? In the scheme of sustainable development, why is it so important that leaders must be exemplary?
I think the answer isn't far-fetched at all. Because the current environment, as you have already written about the V.U.C.A, and scholars are writing and every journalist are talking about the complex nature of today's world. We just stepped out of, COVID-19. The war in Ukraine is unfolding. Think about all that. Supply chain restrictions, blah, blah, blah. They are all turbulent times. Now, in turbulent times, is when you need leadership. Turbulent times require leaders. But baseline, is that if you are a leader, either in your home, you see, I also don't think we need to take the leadership concept to the grandeur type. Let's look at leadership from even the home, from the church, from the corporate environment. And if you're a leader and you don't walk the talk, and you say, for example, you are the team captain in your office working on a project, and you say 7 o'clock, everybody should come. Day one, you didn't come. Day two, you didn't come. It becomes a habit. The next day, who will take you seriously? It won't happen. If you are the army general or the president of Ghana or Nigeria, and you say we need to do this or that, we need to reform our education and all that, and you take your kids out of Ghana, who will believe you? So you see, in difficult times, when we need to model behavior, you need to inspire your people. You need to create the trust in them that, look, there is a better expectations ahead of us. And I want to devote my time and I want you to believe in me. So build trust, build confidence in people, and inspire them. If you inspire them, you become a role model. On the basis of being a role model as a leader in such turbulent times, you can easily rally the people. And that is the most important thing. if you are unable to rally your people to follow you positively, to cause an effect, then leadership has dropped into what I call the leadership discrepancy, and it becomes very difficult at that.
Excellently delivered.
Yeah,
so what I pick from your submission so far is leadership by example, inspires respect and trust, because the confidence that the team members or the followers will gain from your behavior culminates eventually in delivery of shared goals.
Yeah.
And more so, the fact that you behave in a certain positive manner that, people look up to, it boosts the morale of individuals within the team or within the citizenry, especially, to work harder towards the attainment of the shared goals. Yes. So that is well said. Now, in your statement also, you did indicate that across board, leaders must be conscious of this, because eventually it leads to either negative or positive results or outcomes.
Yes.
Now, when you look at the leadership space within the African continent, what are some of or within the global space as a global analyst?
Yeah.
By the way, viewers, Mark is an enterprise risk analyst and a global affairs analyst as well. So that's why I'm trying to pose the questions to him, that when he looks at the global stage and the kind of leadership we see around, what model of leadership by example, as in across board, will you prescribe or will you point to?
Wonderful. You see, let me be very honest here, because you see, we are in leadership crisis, the period within which we are having this conversation. Honestly, leadership is in crisis across board, from everywhere, global scene and Ghana and corporate world and all that. We just had a banking crisis in America and blah, blah, blah. But you see, the core conversation with leadership is that leadership requires that one is very conscious, because you see, leadership isn't a science where we can say add ammonia and atom and you are generating a predictable outcome. That is a fact. So it requires navigating, careful kneading and careful navigation. Number one, leadership is a conscious effort. So if you are a leader, what we would recommend or prescribe is a conscious effort to become a better leader. Number two, and I would pick this from Obama, humility. If you are a leader, you want to be a very good leader, which is what is missing in contemporary times, is the humility. Obama acknowledged that, at some point when he was doing his primaries, he had to go do a public debate, with his contestant, with his competitors. And honestly, he said he went to the podium to blah, blah, blah. He did all the things he said. It took his political managers to say, sir, that was bad. And he knew he goofed big time. He admitted and corrected himself until he became a president. So all we are saying is that to become a good leader in these times, you must consciously wanting to be a good leader. And consciously wanting to be a good leader means you need to also update your leadership values, because that is important. When the values and principles you aspire to, they can be outmoded. And the humility to even accept the desire to also lift people up. Leadership cannot be self-centered, where it is egoistical, that everything is centered around one person. Any environment where we build everything around individuals or one man, we are in trouble, because on your 360 degrees, you have also established that leadership is not a title. Leadership is not a position. Leadership is not a human being. So think about that. When you build leadership around individuals, you build monsters. And once you have a monster, sooner or later, you will be devoured by the monster.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I think that dovetails into, or that leads us to the next line of questions so that we can quickly wrap up and give opportunities to our viewers to also question or contribute to this very important topic. Now, what role does leadership, communicating effectively, does it contribute somehow to leadership by example? So there is a task or a vision to be attained. How the leader communicates it to the entire team effectively, does it also feed into the leadership by example concept?
Yes, Doug. Emphatically yes, but with just a little caution. Communication is effective in leadership. Leadership by examples. And you see, the downside is that it is the communication part which is often very flowery. Most leaders or most people pretending to be leaders can use words. And so once they use words, they talk the talk. And then they abandon walk the talk.
Okay.
So yes.
Mark, let me cut you in here. Viewers, let me be quick to mention the lines. You can contribute to this discussion on 0531 982298. 0531 982298. This is a very important conversation we are having. Mark, it's getting interesting. But I think at this point, let's take a quick break and then we shall be right back.
Thank you.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Go Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Go Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Go Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Welcome back, cherished viewers. Once again, contribute to this discussion by calling 0531 982298. 0531 982298. If you are outside Ghana, just add +233 to it. I believe if you are watching this show, prompt a friend that we are live on DSTV channel 277 and Facebook at Metro TV Ghana as well. Now, we have our first caller on the line. Nuhu, good afternoon from Tamale.
Good afternoon, Doc.
How are we and how is Tamale?
Tamale fine. Oh.
Please go ahead.
Yes. I want to ask your analysts were talking about communication. Sometimes you look at certain leaders when they communicate, it's so bad because the way you communicate to your team members, that gives them confidence that indeed the success of the work or what you are going to achieve will be very smooth. But you look at certain leaders when they communicate to you, it doesn't augur well. It makes people shy away from you. I don't know whether how this is the way leaders should.
All right.
Or leaders should make themselves
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Nuhu. Let's be snappy when we are posing the question, because there are a lot of calls coming through, so that we can give opportunity to as many people as possible. Mark.
Yes, sir. Communication that is laced with ego is just not a leadership type of communication. So when you're a leader and you talk down on your subordinates or your peers or even your that is not leadership. Because you see, leadership is service, and I'm sure we'll get into that. If you are talking to people and you are condescending on them, either you are ignorant about the sensibilities around, sensitivities, and religious diversities, sex issues, and all that, age gaps.
Mark, the calls are
Let's
coming.
go ahead,
We'll definitely address this issue.
Go.
Mohammed from Tamale, good afternoon.
Afternoon, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I hope you are fine too.
I'm quite well.
All right, please go ahead.
I'm a retired teacher, and I was a leader. And what I've observed, especially in my own ministry, that is GES, you realize that our leadership, current leadership is that when you have a challenge, you have to, you cannot, you find it difficult to communicate. When somebody comes with a problem, you are a leader and then heading the place, then your bosses instructing you that as a headmaster or as a head teacher, you have to contact the district director of education for permission. Then the district director of education will also ask you to communicate. He will also pass it to the regional director. Regional director will pass it to
Mohammed, can you summarize for us the exact question so that we can proceed?
And this type of leadership, how do you even identify who performed this, who performed that? That's why I've realized that it's the dictatorial type of leadership which we cannot achieve, like Ghana we are facing today. Thank you.
All right, you are welcome. We are grateful for your question as well. So, Mark, you were making a point. Just a quick summary of that before we come to Mohammed's question.
That's right.
On the issue of communication.
Oh, yeah, communication. All I'm saying is that communication is very important in leadership, especially leadership by example, because you need to deliver communication in the right context, in the right text, in the right tone, in the right mood, to be able to convey the exact message you desire as a leader to communicate to the people you lead, your teammates. Anything beyond that, you create communication ambiguities. And when communication isn't well delivered, I can tell you there will be a backlash.
Okay.
And
so
I'm sorry.
I guess to effectively communicate, leaders must listen more. They must listen more to understand the issues and be able to diagnose the solution to whatever.
In fact, the first line of talking is to listen more.
To listen more.
That's it.
So that is the bottom line for communication. Because without listening, and you only talk, you may not get to the bottom of it. Now, Mohammed raised an important question, or an issue of, lack of understanding or chain of command vis-a-vis communication, organizational culture. All these are embedded in Mohammed's question.
Absolutely.
So we will take a call from Blackman. When we come back, we'll address Mohammed's issue. So, Blackman, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, boss.
Please go ahead. Great to have you on the show. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah.
development of our society. Because it is not in all situations that we all know everything.
Yeah.
We have leaders who have been in leadership position for years, but this program is meant for us to take a step back, to re-examine our own approaches to leadership and teamwork, so as to reorganize ourselves for the betterment of our society. So that is the essence of this program. Mark, talking about the chain of command, organizational culture, as in enabling team or sub-unit leaders to take initiatives or communicate or take certain actions. What will be your take?
I think that my take is simple, and I can understand Muhammad's, dilemma. But obviously, it even goes beyond just the public or civil service, because the leadership quagmire or the leadership blues around actually affected almost every sector, international arena, churches, mosque, etc. Everybody is beset with leadership issues. Now, I think what I suspect is that apart from the fact that structure is an issue, okay, our culture is an issue, also leadership hasn't, over the period in Ghana or in Africa, hasn't been actually taught as a subject properly from the fundamentals to actually build people to appreciate that, number one, leadership is not a long degree. Oftentimes, someone in the education or wherever in the public sector is there as a chief or so because the person has a certain degree, it's been there for long.
In fact, we spoke about it on this show where we discussed the topic leadership beyond certificates.
That's right.
So it's a conversation that is worth you mentioning again, that it is beyond your certificate. Let's take a quick call from Dan, and then we shall be back.
Good.
That's the interesting thing on this show. Calls keep coming. Dan, good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir.
Welcome to Leadership 360 Show. Your contribution, please.
Yes, this is a question. What I was coming to ask your analyst is that, is it always true that leadership or a leader should lead by example? I bet to D5 he says yes.
All right. Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Dan. So the interesting thing about leadership, which I said from the onset, is that it's not a physical science where you add chemicals and you get predictable results. I think that he should remember that. So I'm not going to say yes or no to that, but I'm going to argue that predominantly we expect leaders to be role models when they can lead by examples. Well, because I'm also a military student and I am a global affairs guy and I watch defense matters, and I understand doctors may have to take sometimes very crazy decision to save a patient. In the military, when there is war, the police may have to go through some crazy procedures to save. Those are extreme issues, and you may have to sidestep on a few procedures just to do something that is leadership by exception. But overall, the kind of conversation we are having for a stable society, for sustainable development, for a progressive people, we advocate strongly that the leadership must be by examples.
Thank you.
Anything beyond that is a leadership delinquency.
All right. Thank you. I guess we have Dan on the call.
Hello?
Emmanuel. Good afternoon.
Emmanuel.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
And welcome to the show. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I am calling to know where I can get a copy of the book. Emmanuel, yeah.
Okay, Emmanuel.
I'm listening to you in some occasions, and I want to know where I can get one of the books.
Okay, I guess you are talking about the beautiful book.
Yeah.
On the table between us.
Yeah.
This book is available at Goil Cafe. Currently, you can go to the 37 Goil Cafe. You can go to Presec Goil Cafe, or you can contact this number, and then it will be delivered to you. It's a book written by myself and it was launched in 2021. The title, if you are seeing it clearly, is the V.U.C.A World and the Future of Corporate Strategy and Leadership. This thing was written out of the fact that following COVID-19, challenges that came to the world were overwhelming, and the world leaders need to understand the current occurrences and how the world operates and how we can adjust our leadership, styles. So some of the issues we are discussing are even explained in more details in the book. So viewers, if you are interested, you can get that. You can contact the number to be delivered onto you at a very affordable fee. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Now, Mark, let's go on to, let me be quick to mention that. Now, to contribute a little to the issue of the leadership by example. Now, cherished viewers, when we talk about leadership by example, it is not the case that the leader can stay aloof or just spell out, give instructions, and then stay back and watch the team deliver. The leader is required to get involved. And getting involved means that you must demonstrate knowledge, you must demonstrate capability, you must demonstrate feasibility of whatever task or whatever assignment is to be undertaken. Otherwise, you're going to assign people to tasks that they may not be able to deliver. It also requires leaders to understand the capabilities within their teams, to be able to, show that these are individuals who don't have what it takes to deliver on certain assignments. And there is the need to demonstrate to such individuals how it can be done. If it's about knowledge sharing, the leader is required to also share the knowledge and be able to build capacity of such people to deliver. So leadership by example is a very critical thing for all of us. Our next caller, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Your name, please.
My name is Edem Gaina. I'm calling from Tamale.
Edem, thank you and welcome to the Leadership 360 show. Your contribution, please.
On the leadership program you are having, one thing that worries me most is that you will realize that some leaders, when you work under them, they did not want to impart the knowledge that they've acquired. So oftentimes you see most organizations, when people are going on retirement, they now have to give contract to those people to stay more time. And it's becoming a problem that in most organizations, you are having old people in organization who are still acting or playing a leadership role. So those who are in leadership affairs, I'm pleading with them to continuously imparting the knowledge that they've acquired, so that the young one can also equally enhance that knowledge and improve their life. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. Great contribution, great submissions. We have said it on this show in our previous episodes, especially on leadership across generations and leadership 101. We did indicate that if you qualify to be recognized as a leader, you must, one of the characteristics you must display or you must demonstrate all the time is ability to create more leaders. Great leaders create more leaders. So to be seen as a great leader, your relevance is seen in the number of people you churn out as leaders, even greater than you. So it is a good message to all of us that if you find yourself in a leadership position or you are aspiring to get into that leadership position, you must understand that the greatest impact you make on your team is to build their capacity to be able to lead even in your absence. Because it is not always that you have to be around for things to happen. Yeah. So that is key to our conversation as well. Thank you very much. Mark, please continue from where we left off.
I think you have a call?
There's a caller. Kofi,
good.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Kofi.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Please,
Boss, how are you?
I am fine, and welcome to the Leadership 360 show. Your contribution.
I'm grateful. Yeah. My my curiosity. Please help me to satisfy my curiosity. You see, very often in our part of the world, particularly Africa, I stand to be corrected. I'm very sure that the course content which you learn all through your academic years up to this time that you have PhD in what you learned, these course content are invariably the same course content that the people in Europe, in America learn. Now, you realize that...
please be a little bit snappy for us, so other callers are waiting.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So all I want to find out is, why is it that if somebody from Ghana goes through a course like you've done and becomes a doctor, and an American goes through same course content and becomes a doctor, and it comes to delivery, I mean, where targets are set and performance are geared towards delivering targets. We in Ghana here, Master, you see results and nothing to write about.
I guess I get the import of the question you're trying to pose. That is to say that it appears we acquire the knowledge, but application of that knowledge is always an issue for us. We are not able to deliver as the other counterparts, the foreign counterparts will be able to do, or we see them doing. I will say quickly before I get to Mark that it has to do largely with the culture within our space, the culture of, if you like, for want of a better word, culture of intimidation or culture of unawareness of the environment we operate in, and the issue of lack of creativity and innovation. We learn the theory, but how to, apply it becomes a problem. Mark, over to you.
Yeah, good one, quick one. I think we didn't finish with Mohammed when all these calls came. In Mohammed's dilemma, I think one of the problems we also have is, as I said from the onset, is that people acquire degrees, which is what we are hearing.
Exactly.
And also people stay on the job for very long. But the leadership rudiment, we don't take people through. Exactly. So for example, in leadership, what we call emotional intelligence.
Exactly.
When you go to school, you acquire what we call the intelligence quotient, IQ. So you'll be the first class, second degrees, you only have your IQ. But the EQ, the intelligent quotient, the emotional quotient, which is what is required to manage people under difficult circumstances, a least developed country, a poor country, running a ministry, there will be too many constraints, yet deliverables will be beckoning. How are you going to handle that? It will all require your maturity, which is emotional intelligence. Now, the other part too has to do with legacy. I mean, you touched on that eloquently, and I heard our caller too talked about that. If you were a leader, and what will be your legacy? Exactly. I call that the leadership legacy. If you die and you think Ghana will go or fall off, or you die and you think your family will extinct, then you are in trouble. If you are a bishop and you think you go, your church will collapse, you are in trouble. You must carve out a legacy. And in leadership, we call that succession planning. It is the duty of every leader, whether small or big or large, to begin to, any day, begin to hand over the baton. Because there are too many people who say, hand over to who? Oh no, but you were a human being. What if you fall off and you are gone?
Exactly.
So leadership without a legacy and training and mentoring, it's not leadership by example.
Exactly.
That's fine.
So we have, thank you very much. As if you were on the show, we indicated in our previous shows as well that mentoring, coaching is one of the ways to create other leaders within the team. So thank you very much. Prince, good afternoon.
Yeah, fine afternoon. Talk.
You're welcome to the Leadership 360 show. Your points, please.
Yeah. What I've realized with this leadership thing is about the fact that, in this part of our country and globally, it seems to me like this world is moving into digitalization. And now, with the leaders that we have in Ghana, most of them, the aged, are handicapped when it comes to the Haiti of this, driving this move. And I see the youth with so much sophistication when it comes to the Haiti and the digitalization thing that we are driving this country to. So you have some leaders, when you are advising, even though they are your leader, when you are advising them on some of the things to do, they feel so big to take your advice, in the sense that they think maybe what you say, when they take it, it might seem like you are trying to control them. Okay. So the bottom line, the question is that, as a leader, aren't you supposed to be taking advices from your subordinate when you think what he or she tells you is the right way to go? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mark.
Yes, sir.
As leaders, are we not supposed to be taking contributions from our team members?
It is very important. And when your very first question, why it is important to to do leadership by example, I think that is one of the pillars of it. As a leader, you need 365 degrees feedback from all over. And it doesn't matter whether it's your subordinate. Because if you are a leader, you don't know it all. The fact that you are a leader within a situation, a particular moment, doesn't mean you have all the answers. So it's humility. If you remember, I talked on the need for leaders to be humble. That if you had the whole presidential candidate who emerged as the first black president in the United States of America to write in his book, The Promised Land, Obama's memoir, that he made terrible mistakes on the platform. And it took the campaign team to tell him, Mr. President, those were wrong. And he had acknowledged. So if you are a leader and you don't take feedback, I am afraid.
All right. I guess we have Bismarck on the line. Ismail, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Please speak up a bit for me. You're welcome to the Leadership 360 show. Your contribution.
My contribution is that leadership by example is something that I think we should all start from our various homes. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because it's something that must grow up in us. Leadership shouldn't be something that you learn. It should be something that at least you grew up with. So starting from our various home, what I mean by that is this. You have 2 or 3 children at home. As a parent, I think the oldest one or the elderly one.
Please be snappy for us. We are running out of time. Thank you.
Hello?
Yeah. Please go ahead, but be snappy for us. Hello? Hello? Are we? Oh, sorry, we have lost Ismail. So I will be quick to, before we go for a quick break and come back, I will be quick to say that indeed, leaders need to, just to add up to the point you made, that leaders, regardless of your age bracket, we treated that topic last week, in a previous episode where we say leadership across diverse generations.
That's right.
We need to understand that in leadership, currently in our world, there are different generations. We have the millennials, we have the baby boomers, we have the Generation X, Gen Zs, and upcoming Generation Alpha. Yeah. They all have different characteristics. So if you are a baby boomer in your 60s and you are at the workplace with Gen Zs who are young people, you must get to understand that the technological space that we are operating in they are good at those things.
right.
And they will be in a better position to advise you. So viewers, it's very critical that all of us understand that even the baby boomers, they have some level of experience that they need to share. And the younger generation also need to learn from those things. It is not the case that the older people don't have an idea about what is happening. So working in harmony as a team is what is the way to go. And that is why when you are in a leadership position, you must submit yourself to a certain honor code that you live by day, so that those honor codes will culminate in examples for your team members. So let's take a quick break and take our honor code.
Yes.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
I am a proud and firm African. I will take a stand. I will lead and be the change. Come and take my hand. For the safety, honor, and welfare of my country and company come first. Always and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the people I lead come next. My own ease, comfort, and safety come last. Always and every time.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back. Our comfort, our ease, and our own welfare or safety must come always last as leaders. Mark, it's been an interesting discussion.
Very well.
Just in 45 seconds, summarize your final statements for us for today's show.
Good. Well, let me say this one very quick. I think within the confines of this conversation, leadership by example is the desired, leadership values we must all aspire to. Walking the talk is what we must also desire. Leadership by service. Leadership by service means getting your hands wet, not to be the boss around when there is something to do. And ultimately, leadership is also a fluid environment. So learning and unlearning, daily learning and all that, to be abreast with technology and artificial intelligence, and in all, humility.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been nice having you on this show. I must say, viewers, it's been a pleasant time. Our own open-mindedness to understand that our leadership skills must be grown day by day based on the occurrences around us is critical to our progress as a people. On this show, we have had callers mentioning that in our parts of the world, we have challenges with leadership. That is why this show is designed for you and I. It's been pleasant having you. Next week, we're going to look at another topic relating to leadership and strategy. And that is going to be a massive conversation around the issue of leadership. Stay tuned. All the previous episodes are available on my personal YouTube channel as Dr. Victor Abbey. Just check it out. But when you do check, remember to like, subscribe, and share with others so that we keep sharing the knowledge and we shall witness the sustainable development of our countries and our continent at large and contribute meaningfully to the global, environment. Thank you and see you next week. Bye.